Recognizing the impact of how language-intensive an experience is can help you be empathetic as a parent and help you modify things as needed to give your child the best possible chance to be successful. When you understand the origin of your child's difficulty, you can see how it impacts their ability to self-regulate or problem solve. Recognizing this can also help you regulate yourself better. When you fully grasp what is truly going on at the core, you can stay calm, affirm yourself, and work with your child to affirm themselves and move forward. At our dinner table, we often like to talk about roses and thorns, or the best and worst parts of our day. If you find that your child isn't sharing much about their day at school, you could ask them to draw you a picture of the best or worst part of the day before or after dinner time. Then you can talk about it together, and your child will have a visual from which to base his narrative, or which you can use as you ask helpful questions. You can look at the picture and talk about it together. Focusing on asking specific questions can also be helpful. Instead of asking the broad, overwhelming question, how was school? Or what did you do today? What did you learn? Try asking, who did you play with at morning recess? Or did anybody do anything funny at school today? Or did you feel sad or happy or scared or excited today at school? I've found in my personal experience, if you start off by telling your children something about your day, rather than asking them questions, they're much more likely to then want to tell you something about their day. If you want specific question ideas, there are many lists online that you can Google. I like using family talking point cards to be very intentional about covering a variety of important topics and helping my children feel like their thoughts and opinions are valuable. We can also model active listening and asking clarifying questions as needed and expose our kids to great vocabulary. Some questions from family talking point cards include, what would you like us to do more of as a family? Or what do you think it means to be successful? There's also lots of silly questions in there too that can make it really fun. Each person at the table then takes a turn answering the same question. These types of questions can help our child use language in a somewhat guided way and show them specifically that you value relational intimacy and will take the time to listen to what they have to say, even if it takes them a while to get their thoughts out using words. Put your phone away, give them your undivided attention, and encourage them in their responses. You can also check in with your child with DLD and ask if it would be helpful for them to hear a modeled response first by asking another family member to be the first to answer the question and probably use some of the vocabulary that your child will also need to use. So then that vocabulary is fresh in their minds when it is their turn to answer. Activating vocabulary knowledge prior to a new family experience or activity can help your child be primed to participate. So if you're taking your child to the aquarium for the first time ever, or maybe it's the first time in over a year, you can activate a lot of those specific aquarium type words prior to going, maybe even on the drive over. You can say, I can't wait to see the, and then use a bunch of words related to wherever it is that you're going. So then slowly, without pressure, in a relaxed manner, just modeling those for your child, that can be really helpful. Then when they arrive at wherever you're going, words that they may not have used in quite a long time, they've already been primed. You've already activated those words in their mind, so it's hopefully going to be that much easier for them to use them as they communicate during the experience. So let's say you're going to a carnival. Well, you can talk about some of the things that you'll see, like a Ferris wheel or bumper cars, but try to also be mindful of using action words as well. So throw in some verbs that they don't encounter all the time. So maybe you could talk about the word juggling or judging or competing. No matter what activity you're doing, especially with younger kids, I love using this strategy called OWL. OWL, and that stands for observe, wait, and listen. So watch your child, observe them, and see what it is that they're doing. Really observe them, and then you wait. Look expectantly at them and see if they're going to jump in and have something to say. And if they do, it's going to be their thoughts that they're sharing with you, not an answer to a question directed by you. So you observe and you listen really carefully to your child after you've waited. Don't pepper your kids with questions all the time, but give them an opportunity to really feel like they're not being rushed. Demonstrate with your gentle silence that there's no pressure and you're there to listen to what they have to say when they are ready. Sometimes just pausing for 5 or 10 seconds can elicit communication from your child. And this is pretty hard for me. Sometimes I literally count silently in my head because, well, 10 seconds isn't that long in theory. It can feel very long in the moment, but the rewards of waiting are often worth it. Observing, waiting, and listening is really important when reading books with kids with DLD. First of all, let them pick out books that they're interested in. If currently your child doesn't like story time with you, they're not a fan of books, or they don't even like looking at books all on their own, go to the library or the bookstore and let them choose books about topics they're interested in. Maybe your child loves Minecraft or Pokemon, so find books about those topics. And if you noticed, oh no, my kid picked this Batman book that has like 200 words per page, it's okay if you don't read any of the words or you only read some of the words. Starting out, just talk about the pictures and make comments discussing what's happening. Don't worry if you don't get all the words in because your child might not have that long of an attention span, or maybe the vocabulary in the book they picked is just too hard. Remember, when reading books together or talking about books together, don't make your child feel like they're being interrogated, which we tend to do so often. You want to make them feel like they are free to make the comments that they want to make and just share an enjoyable experience and develop a love of literacy. You can also model some great vocabulary or some great grammar for them, but at the end of the day, you want to remember this part. Make way more comments than questions and pause expectantly. I'm going to say it just one more time. Don't ask your kids tons of questions when you're reading books together because it really does feel like an interrogation. What we want to remember to do is make a comment and then wait expectantly. We're so apt to say things like, oh, what color is this truck? Or what's this character's name? Or where are they right now? And with a lot of those kinds of questions, you'll get a 1 or a 2-word answer and your child might feel pressured. But if you make a comment like, wow, I really like that purple truck, or, oh, it looks so funny when Thomas gets all muddy, and then you pause expectantly, you're actually much more likely to get a lot more language out of your child. Many kids with developmental language disorder get mixed up with WH questions. By that, I mean who, what, when, where, why, and sometimes even how questions. Those questions can be really confusing. Has your child ever answered you and you kind of go like, huh, what on earth? Imagine you asked, who's ready to go? And your child said school. Well, that's because they didn't necessarily understand or got mixed up with how to deal with a who question. With a who question, we expect the answer to be a person. With a where question, we expect the answer to be a place. It's actually very common for kids to mix those up when they have DLD. You can see how challenging it could be for your child to participate in family discussions when they get these types of words confused. If your child answers a WH question with an inappropriate type of response, like, for example, answering a who question with a place, who wants to go, and they say school, you can explicitly state who means what person is ready to go to school. If this is an area where your child struggles, refer to the handout for this module frequently and use the little taglines on there like who means a person. I'm going to ask you again, who is ready for school? Can you tell me the name of the person? When you make it more explicit, you can help your child succeed, and then you want to gently fade away those prompts. And even if they do get mixed up, hopefully a simple reminder will help them. And then you can move on to supporting their understanding of the next WH question using the order of acquisition on your slide.